Hi everyone, it's Christy. Welcome back to the next episode of Frugal February, where we are learning to use the stuff that we already have in our home to make junk journals and other crafting supplies. So, in the last episode, we made a journal cover out of a pancake mix box. So, you can picture right there, there's the pancake mix box. We covered it with a pillowcase and a couple of printed images that I got from AI artwork. And now we're going to put some pages in the journal. So I gathered up some supplies. This is copy paper that I have taken watercolor and colored pink, various shades. Some are darker than others, some are lighter, some are kind of got squiggly patterns or dots and different effects that I've created. That seemed like it might be a lot of pink, so I'm going to throw in just a few tea-dyed papers. And I have a couple of plain book pages and some book pages that I've painted with the watercolors as well. And they came out darker because they were on a darker paper. And might even throw in an envelope or something. We'll see. Let's get started. So, simplest thing is to start with the fact that for the size of this spine, that's about 1.5 inches. I'm going to put in two signatures, two groups, two booklets. Think, if you don't know what a signature is, think of it as two booklets inside this main cover. And so we'll go 10 or 12 pages for each one. So let's kind of get started here. What do I want to do first? Let me just kind of sort out my pages a little bit from what are the patterned ones. I'm going to divide them into basically two piles, okay? So let me move these over here. Okay, so I'm going to make one set, two sets. Okay. Three. And basically what I'm doing is I'm making kind of pairs. Like these are two similar pages, so I'll put one in each of the two signatures. And these both have kind of some polka dots on them, so I'll put one in each of the two signatures. And so forth. And some tea-dyed pages, I'll go with two for each, and that's an odd number. Let's see how many pages I've got here so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8, 9, and I can use the covers for 10. We'll keep it simple. Simple. So I have two scrapbook papers. I do like to cover the outside of each signature with a prettier paper, a printed paper usually. And this is just stock that I had on hand. I thought the butterflies went well with the butterfly on her hat, and it's the same color patterns or color scheme. And then this one is kind of the same color scheme, so I picked both of those. We'll trim them down on the guillotine here in just a moment. That's enough for 10 pages each. I think I'm okay with that. If I want to throw in a couple more, I could throw in some copy paper. I think that's 10 pages is good. We'll be stuffing these pretty good. All right, so let me grab my guillotine. Now we're going to have to cut down these papers because they're too tall they're too tall for the journal. And right, so let me sort these so I don't get them mixed together again. Those two are going to be fine. These are a little bit curled on the edge, so I'm going to make sure that when I trim it, I trim off the curled edge instead of the other edge. So I'm going to, my journal size is basically 5 by 7. So I'm going to cut these 7 inches on the long direction, 7 inches tall, basically. And save these because I can use those for something else. And then, because when I fold this in half, it's going to be 5 inches each, so I'm going to have 2 5s, which makes 10. So instead of the 11 inches long, I'm going to cut off an inch so it's 10. Okay, so now we have a 7-11, or a 7 by 10. All right. So I'm going to just eyeball these and make sure those are all good. I think I'll turn that one this way. And all I'm doing is looking for if there's an edge that's curled or torn or anything that I want to make sure that I cut off the side that's curled or torn. These I will cut all at once. 7 inches tall. And we'll just go with this direction. Okay. And the book pages don't need to be trimmed, they're already shorter. So I'm going to do that. Do that again with the other stack. Let's see. Alright, so there's 7 by 10. And see, this one, the paper is kind of folded, so I'll just put that part in the side that I'm going to trim off. No problem. Trim that side. That one probably doesn't matter too much, and this one I'll trim on this side. Okay. Let's see. I'm just looking to see when I take an inch off the other side, which side I want to take it off of. I think this side will be fine. Okay. I know the guillotine is kind of loud, so I apologize about that. And then these, I can cut these together. Let's go with this one on top so I remember to cut the butterflies so they're not sideways. So I want 7 inches, 7 inches tall. Now make sure and save that for future use. And then this was a 12-inch square, so I'm going to have to cut off a little bit more here, but it's still going to be 10 inches. 10 inches wide. Let me just... I don't think it's going to matter. Maybe I'll take it off of this edge. And we have beautiful scraps. We can use those in decorating the inside of the journal and so forth, so it's all color coordinated. That, I think, is all I need the cutter for. Okay, so now I'm going to sit down a little bit. Oh, okay. Let's arrange these because I want to have the tea-dyed ones interspersed with the other ones. So I'm going to have a cover, the butterfly cover, and then a pink page. Actually, I think I want this one next. Tea-dyed, and let's go with that next. Pink, that. And I'll finalize a couple decisions here. Let's fold them and then I'll see how they fit together. There's a couple decisions to make on that. And I use my glass bottle as a brayer instead of a bone folder. I use the glass bottle. It's just a larger surface to hold. It's got a nice feel to it and it does the same thing. I'm all about using as few tools as possible. And why buy a bone folder if you have something you can use instead? It is nice to have something to help you get a good solid crease. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to purchase something for that. You can find something. Just find something you have around the house. Some of these I might change my mind and flip them inside out. I'm just going to fold them in half for now. If I decide I want, you'll see what I mean. If I want the pink paint on the outside of this fold, or if I want it on the inside of a fold. So we'll play with that as we get to it. Well, that one's got some drag to it. I'll do a video on how I paint up papers. We'll do an entire painting video. Okay, so I got those folded. Let me quickly fold up the other ones. And this one has a logo on the back. I'm okay with that. I can probably work with it in terms of maybe I can decorate over the top of it or put a pocket there. We'll just play with it and see what happens. I've been collecting pink stuff. I knew I wanted to make a pink journal, and I have been saving pink things when I come across pink things. I have various bins in my craft room, my supply closet, and so I have one that I keep in cowboy stuff, and one that has ocean stuff, one that has hot air balloon stuff. I've already made some cowboy journals, but I still have a bunch of cowboy stuff, so there may be more cowboys in the future. And I've got enough stuff now to make the ocean journals and the hot air balloon journals. I just haven't made it that far. But maybe this will be the year. And so I just kind of have ideas of journals that I want to do in the future, and I just kind of start keeping an eye out for when I see something that'll fit that theme. So if I see a stencil at the dollar store, or something like that, some ribbon, whatever the case may be. I just got just today I was at the dollar store, and I got these two things of ribbon. One has hearts on it and one says love. I thought, oh, those will go in my pink journal just perfect. So yay for a good find. And while I'm very conscious of spending as little money as possible, I'm not afraid to buy a few inexpensive items here and there. I have some, printed papers and stuff, but I try to use... You don't need to spend as much on printed papers if you can make your own pretty papers, right? So these are just the final touches, in my opinion, rather than the base of everything the journal is. I wouldn't want to pay the price of having to use printed papers for the whole journal. That would become expensive quickly, right? Okay, so let's decide how to put this, what sequence to put this. So this is going to be the cover. And I'll put that toward the back. Okay. Let me stand back up so I make sure I stay in frame while I'm doing this. Alright. I like the look of that one. I'll put that one. Not sure about that one. Let's start with some printed page, or some book page, I mean. Tea-dyed. One of the things I'm fiddling with is which page do I want to have in the middle? Do I want to have a book page in the middle spread? Or maybe this one in the middle spread? Yeah, kind of like that one because it's got some pink accents. This one, when it got cut, it kind of just came out a little bit odd, but maybe I'll put that there. Because when I have it folded like this, the pink will show around the smaller page. Alright, so then we'll go with... Maybe I'll turn this one inside out. So it gives me some... And the reason I did that is because if I have this one for the middle spread, it's going to be white on this side. So rather than having two whites together, the tea-dyed will contrast with the white on the back side of that. So... that is one set done. Let me do the same thing with this set. And I thought about having this all kind of prepared, but I thought you might want to see my logic of how I think through what order to do things in. Okay. Which way do I like that? That's better, I think. Let's see. Let me put the pink one. Try to sneak through. Maybe I'll go with the tea-dyed one and then the pink one. And then the book page and the pink. See, because then the book page will contrast with the pink behind it, rather than if I had had the tea dyed behind it, there would be no contrast. So we'll put the pink behind that. Okay, this is what I don't want. I don't want these two spotted ones together. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna turn this spotted one inside out and use it for the middle spread. And I have an envelope. Now, this is just a greeting card envelope. And I did take on the guillotine and I cut the bottom off so that this is open here. And I fold it in half. And now I've got a pocket here and a pocket here, a place to tuck things in. And then I have pockets, 2 pockets at the top. I wanted to make I'm going to use my big 3.5-inch circle punch and punch a large semicircle at the top. If you can see, I don't know if you can see, I had previously started to use this in another journal and I backed out of it, mainly because I didn't like that tiny little semicircle at the top. I wanted a bigger punch. So today we're going to use it, and I'm going to hit it with the bigger punch. Now I'm going to just kind of center the envelopes in there, hopefully. I can't see exactly, but hopefully that's... Okay, I'm happy with that. That came out. So now I have one envelope. It's going to have the pockets here, a pocket up here, and a pocket there. And that will get stitched into the binding in the middle of the journal, I think. Put it in the middle, or where do I want? Let me look quick. Let me just take a quick look. Kind of wondering if I want to change this up. I'm going to swap out this pink page, that's the solid pink, for this spotted pink. How about that? And I'm just making some last minute arbitrary decisions about switching some things here. So let me just thumb through this one more time, make sure I'm happy with this before we get committed. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, so the next thing is to punch some holes and bind it all together. So what I need to do, first thing I do, I'm going to punch the holes in the spine of the book. Oh, before I do that, I kind of know from experience what's going to work and what's not. But when you're new, you're not sure how many pages should I be using, take your 2 signatures and just tuck them in there and just see, okay, how does that look? You know, does that look like the right number of pages? And remember, you're going to be bulking this up some more by adding pockets and filler materials, you know, tags, different decorations, and all kinds of stuff. This is kind of one where I could easily do 3 signatures, but I'm going to stick with 2, I think, because I'm planning on adding quite a few pockets and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of looking a little bit sparse. Let me, the other thing to check is make sure your pages fit in there nicely. A little bit of trimming I could probably do on that, but I'm okay with it for now. And I'm just making some arbitrary decisions here before I am totally committed. I believe that while normally I would probably go for a third signature here, you can see like that. If I had it like that, I could easily get a third signature. But I'm going to go with 2 since I only prepared for 2 signatures. And what I might do is just throw in a couple of these extra pages. Well, no, I haven't cut that. I'm not going to take the time. We're going to stick with this, okay? And it'll bulk up a little bit more as we put pockets and so forth in there. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible just to show you the technique. Okay, this is what I'm going to use to punch the holes. See, if you look down there, you see right there that's going to come down and punch the holes. This is the Crocodile 2. It's also known as a big bite because it has a deep, like, I'm not punching this, but I'm just showing you. You can punch deep, into the middle of a spine. Okay, that's why they call it a big bite. All right, so first thing we're going to do is punch 6 holes in the spine. Top, middle, and bottom. And I'm going to just, what do I want to do this at? Okay. Now I'm just eyeballing this because I've done it a number of times. If you want to get all technical and measure, feel free. I used to be a lot more inclined to measure things when I was starting out. Okay, so 2 holes at the top. And this is the part where you have to kind of eyeball because you want your top holes to line up with your bottom holes, more or less. Okay, now this is where I gotta make sure I know which is the top. And okay. Now when I do it, I don't split the difference evenly. I intentionally, I'll show you. This set of holes I make closer to the top because that is a visual that tells me that this is the top of the journal, okay? And so when you come through and punch through the fabric, sometimes it leaves little ookies, and doesn't always punch through the fabric cleanly is what I'm saying. And so if there's little ookies, just we're going to just trim those off with some scissors. And where did I put my scissors? There we go. So I'm just going to give it a little haircut. No big deal. All right. One more. Okay. So we have punched the 6 holes. They are a little bit crooked, but whatever. Nothing has to be perfect, okay? Nothing has to be perfect. Trying to make sure if I had a top and bottom of this. Okay, that was going to be the back. I was looking for this. It's what I was looking for, to make sure that that wasn't going to be in the inside of the front cover or whatever. Okay, so that one, and then top. Okay, so I've got my two booklets. I've got the top of both of them in the same place, and it's matched up with the top of the journal, so everything's in place. Now, what I'm going to do is grab a pencil. Okay, so I grabbed a pencil, and what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of a line. I'm going to hold this up here for you to see closer. So you can see the sets of holes. Now there's a set of holes, so I'm going to just lightly make a pencil mark. And that one's kind of right in the butterfly, so it's a little bit going to be harder to see, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. And then do the same thing here. And I say use a pencil because you can erase the pencil if you need to, if you feel like that bothers you. And then this one. Okay, so we've made pencil marks on the papers that line up with the ones on the cover. That's why I said to punch the cover first. Now, this is where we're going to punch the holes in the paper. So I'm going to make sure this is all turned correctly. So we've got the paper like that, so you're going to, let's see. The only thing you have to be careful of is when you're punching, if you have papers inside that are irregular sizes, just make sure you know where they're at in there and where they're going to be in relation to the holes that you're punching. So like this one, if I want it to catch in both sets of holes, in two of the three sets of holes, I want to move it up towards the top on that one, or towards the bottom, whichever your case may be. Maybe I'll go towards the bottom with that one. Because I got three shorties in here basically, if you count the envelope. So move that one to the bottom, and I'll move this one towards the top so that there's some variation. And then this one, the envelope. Now the envelope will take a little bit of wear and tear because it's you're going to be pulling stuff in and out of it. So I'm going to, that placement right there should be okay for getting two holes in it, okay? So now we're going to turn this over and hold it all together. You can paper clip it or, use other clips if you want. And now I see that one is sticking out. I got a page, one of my book pages is kind of too high. Lower that a little bit. Okay. That ought to be fine. Now, because I made the markings on the outside, I have to turn it over. And I'm going to carefully look at the pencil mark and punch right at the pencil mark. Where is it? There it is. This one I'm going to turn it over. Where's my pencil mark? Oh, it's in that brown wing. Okay. Okay. So as you can see, we have three pencil marks, or three punches right where our pencil marks are. And as you can see in the inside, I got the holes punched, two in the envelope thing that we were doing. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just aligning the two book pages that are smaller. This one I don't have an envelope in the middle, so I don't have to be quite as cautious here. Now there, I spy my little pencil mark. I'm gonna just find the pencil mark and punch away. One more. And we're done with that. These are the little holes that we punched out. We throw those away. Okay. Now, see, the logic of this is that I could immediately see that these two holes are closer together than these two, so I knew automatically that that was the top, and that's why I do it that way. So I'm going to have the butterflies on top so that when you see her butterfly hat and open it and you see, oh, there's more butterflies. So we're going to stitch these in, and I use a great big fat, like a yarn needle, or I've got a bunch of needles in here. Let me just find, that one is a good one. So let me see if you can see this. That has a pretty hefty, pretty large eye on it, so that's what you're looking for. Never work harder than you have to, right? We're not doing any fine sewing here. We just want something that we can thread quickly and be done with it. So I'm going to need 2 pieces of string. This is just embroidery floss. Use whatever you have. You can use good strong dental floss will work. You can use twine. You can use, like baker's twine type of thing. Whatever, whatever you have. And we want the length of it needs to be 3 times as high as the journal. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3. And then I'll cut that with a little bit extra. Okay, so there's one of them. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thread the needle, easy peasy, right? Now for this, we're gonna insert the back one first. And you're going to go down in the middle. You're going to go through the middle hole first. And then go through the cover, the middle hole, the corresponding, see the back hole of the two in the middle. And we're going to bring that out and come up and go through the top hole on the back side. The only thing you got to make sure is that you stay in the same set of holes. And that your papers don't shift around. If your papers shift around a little bit, just readjust them so that you can find the right holes. So now this one, we came up the top, see? And we're going to go down all the way to the bottom and go straight down through the bottom hole. And make sure you hit the back of the 2 in the spine. And now we're going to go close the loop and go back to the beginning and go through the middle hole again. Okay. And just make sure you don't pierce through the other, because you originally started by going down through that hole. Just make sure you don't pierce through that thread or you'll end up with kind of a knotted mess on your hands. Okay, so I have got one long tail and one short tail, so I'm just going to even that out a little bit. Just give them a gentle tug until they get closer to what you want. It depends if you're going to keep the tails or trim them off. Some people like to trim them close. Some people will tie charms to them and let them dangle below the journal. Just kind of depends what you think you might do. So before you tie anything, just make sure you're in the right set of holes on the cover, that your signature isn't going diagonal. So we have the 2 threads, one on each side, and you're going to have this middle one. Let's hold this up for you. So you're going to tie a knot around this middle one. So the 2 on the back are going to go underneath, or currently underneath that, and now I'm going to tie over the top of that middle one, and it'll anchor it down. So you want to pull this whole thing together firmly, but not to the point that you're going to tear or warp the pages. Just make it snug. All right. There we go. And I'll leave those for now until I decide if I want to tie anything, a charm or anything to them. You can always make those decisions later in the process. I should point out one thing here. When you fold a group of papers, the ones in the middle are going to get pushed that way, and it causes what we call this bird beak situation. Uh-oh, there goes my envelope. And so sometimes, if depending on how perfectionist I'm going to be about a particular journal, if I really want to clean it up, I can sometimes go through and trim those just so that they're not overhanging. But I just want to do something quick and easy just to show you how this whole thing assembles. So I didn't take the time to do that. But I wanted to point that out so that if you are a perfectionist, you can certainly go take the time to trim those down a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start in the middle again, go through the middle hole, and make sure you got it through all of the pages, especially if you have small things like the envelope or the book pages. So we're going to come out here and go back up to the top. Come on. There we go. All right. And now we're going to go all the way to the bottom. My holes are migrating. I got to realign everything. It's okay. Just take your time. Go back all the way through at the bottom. And then close it up by going back through the middle hole. And something didn't line up here. Something has shifted a little bit, so I'm just trying to okay, there's the one that shifted. Okay, now I'm through. Okay, so done with the needle. I'm going to put that back in the thing so it doesn't fall on the floor and I step on it or anything. Okay, so now, where are they? Just going to even out, oops, wrong way. Figure out which direction to pull it to even out the 2 threads, if you want them even. If you're going to trim them short, you don't need to even them out. So I've got the big loop across the middle. These are both behind it, and now I'm going to tie them over the top of that big one just to anchor it all down. It'll hold that big one in place, and everything will be nice and snug. Okay. And then the tails I'll leave to decide later if I'm going to trim them off. Okay. Now, I'm just showing you that's what it looks like. And we have now bound our journal. And there's still some room in here. If I wanted to put in a third signature, I could. We'll see if that's the case. But you get the idea. I've got 2 signatures in here. That's certainly enough to work with. So that is the whole process of putting together a junk journal. And you have seen it from start to finish. Now it's just a matter of decorating it and writing in it and whatever else you want to do in there. Fill up the pages however you want. And we will probably work on that over the course of time here. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this process. If it was helpful to you, put a comment below and tell me so. Give me a thumbs up at least. And God bless you. I love you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.